You're watching a YouTube video for the Roaring Peacock Youth Podcast. Make sure you're liked and subscribed. We're going to interview Matty from the LUFC Academy Central. Leave us some comments. Talk about whatever you want in the comments, really. We will respond to it. And yeah.
The following podcast contains some strong language and some very average opinions.
Any references to actual people are wildly inaccurate. It's probably best if you don't listen at all. The Roaring Peacock Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another special interview podcast from the Roaring Peacock Youth Show. I'm, of course, your host, Ross. With me, as ever, is Rob.
How are we doing?
Cookie's here as well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Just got in from work, ready to talk some Leeds United. And we're going to do that today with our guest, who is Matty Ingham from the LUFC Academy News Twitter account and also LUFC Academy Central website. Welcome.
Hi, mate. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. Welcome to the show. First off, have you watched our stuff before? Do you know what you get yourself into?
Yeah, I have watched the last few.
Are you ready for this level of unprofessionalism?
Just start with a little bit about yourself then. How'd you get into kind of doing what you're doing right now?
I just started at uni. I'm in my third year now. So graduating this year, studying sports journalism. I know a couple of people from the academy, and that's kind of what got me into the academy football. So I've been following it for 4 or 5 years now.
Nice.
And yeah, I like that side of things. I like looking at, the next group of players that are going to come through, and I like being that guy that's able to say to people, watch this kid, watch out for this kid.
Yeah.
I think my most famous one is Jude Bellingham. I watched him play when he was 15. He played against, I think he was 15 or 16, played against Leeds' under-18s. And someone had pointed him out to me before the game. So I took obviously close notice to him, and he was some player. And I just remember saying to my mates, I've just watched this lad for Birmingham, Jude Bellingham. Watch out for him. And he made his Birmingham debut, and one of the lads messaged me that's that lad you told me about 3 years ago. I was like, yeah.
He's at Dortmund, right?
Like that. What's that?
He is.
He's at Dortmund, right? Because I haven't heard much about him since he's gone.
Since Birmingham retired his number.
Yeah, which of the kids aren't going to get their number retired in 2 years' time?
Retired his number.
I know, yeah.
Fucking
I didn't quite call it that far. I didn't say he's going to have his number retired.
And Matty, what made you want to get? You mentioned obviously there you studying sports journalism. What made you want to get into journalism?
Just like talking about football. Like talking about it. I love watching it, writing about it, talking about it. Genuinely, I'm obsessed with it. I'll watch any game that's on the telly. I just football mad. Yeah, that's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Have you not been ruined by Bielsa? I can't watch other teams.
No, I have been finding that recently. I've just watched the first half of Crystal Palace and Burnley, and
yeah,
I mean there was one.
What is this?
There was one stage of play, and Ben Mee had just launched out for a throw-in, and then they took the throw-in and gave it away, and it was just launched down the other end of the pitch. And I was watching it with my little brother, and he was like, it's like watching rugby union, when they just kick it to end to end. I was like, oh my God.
It's hard work watching other teams, isn't it?
Really
when we play the kind of football we do. But so we had Joe Urquhart on last week, and we interviewed him, and we had Tom Hill, the under-23s commentator, on before that, and we talked to both of them about how they kind of got into what they're doing, and how hard it is sort of breaking through. Joe talked us through a very long journey from, going through an apprenticeship to where he's ended up, and Tom, kind of just winged it, and I think he feels he got a bit lucky, as good as he is. Yeah. How are you finding that try to break through, and I guess where do you want to see your career go? What do you see that looking like?
Well, obviously, it's got off to a decent start. I do some stuff for LUTV, but that has been a bit difficult since since COVID. So yeah, opportunities are a bit limited at the minute, but just still optimistic and just trying to do as much as I can. And that's why I appreciate you lads asking me on here, because this kind of stuff is really good for me. There's not so much, like at uni, you can learn how to write, you can learn certain things, but podcasting is a bit different. You kind of just have to go and do it. So yeah, I appreciate this opportunity, and this is obviously something that can help me. As for my career, I just think just take it as it comes, and I won't say no to any opportunities. So hopefully I have a long career working at Leeds, because obviously I'm a Leeds fan. But yeah, we'll see. I do like the club side of things, like working as part of a club. rather than just writing transfer stories and things like that. I do prefer the club side of things. So hopefully a long career at Leeds if all goes to plan.
Fingers crossed.
Just email them. That's how Tom got in.
Yeah,
we're not letting him live that down.
I've worked with Tom. I've obviously been at LUTV. I've worked with Tom and I know him well. I had no idea that's how he got the job. I don't know how that's not got brought up in the office before. Like, I don't know how no one's mentioned that.
I tell you what, by the way, we mentioned this last time, Rob and Ross, about a Tom Bell, and I noticed that in the edit last time Donny put one in. He's going to need so many bells, like the amount of times we talk about him. But he's a friend of the podcast, obviously, and hopefully we'll be having him back on soon because he's a good knowledge hub for what he does with under 23s.
Roaring Peacock exclusive, that one wasn't it? It's been clinging on to that. He's the talk of the LUTV office now with his email.
If you ever hear any player's name pronounced incorrectly by a commentator, just email the club and say, I want that man's job.
Yeah, that did make me laugh. I just can't believe it's never been brought up in the office. Like, it's such a funny way to land yourself in that job.
Love it.
It's a good nugget, isn't it? I think, as well as like the educational side, you mentioned obviously you're at uni, you're studying. Obviously, this is something that you're close to, you're passionate about. I guess I got a two-part question. Are there any tips? There's probably a lot of people sat out there now listening to this, or maybe watching Leeds week in, week out, thinking, I'd like to start. I want to get into that. I want to see if I can create it, but maybe they're a bit apprehensive or scared to do so. So, have you got any tips? And then the flip side of that, I know Cookie asked about, how are you finding breaking through? Where are you seeing the website and your Twitter account, and where are you seeing? What are the plans for that? What would be your goals for growing that? Really?
Well, to be honest, the website and the Twitter are both a part of a uni project. So we had to make our own website and Twitter, social media, and contribute to that. And that gets assessed at the end of next month. So hopefully that goes well. But technically that'll be the end of the module.
I think you've smashed that bit, to be honest.
If it's still going well and people are still reading the stuff in like a month's time when it supposedly finishes, obviously I'll keep that going because it's good for me to have something I can contribute to. And with it being fully 23s related, it's good to just have that same thing, all of it in one place, because before I was just contributing to I just had my own WordPress, and that kind of answers your other question about what should people do. I just had my own WordPress. I've had it since I was 15, 16, just writing my own stuff about, a lot of it was about Leeds, but there's some things about England, just general like Premier League things. Just if you wanted to get started, just do your own thing and sort of see where it goes, because when you're looking for jobs and things like that, people just want to see that you're ambitious and you've got you've set things up for yourself. You've obviously got a good work ethic if you've just gone out there and done that for yourself. Obviously I'm not getting any money for running my own WordPress account. I'm just doing it for the love of it. So I think that sort of reflects well on you to people.
Yeah, what's the website address again, Matty?
Yeah, promote it.
For the Academy one, it's LUFC and the Twitter is at LUFC Academy News, because the tag was too long. It's a bit annoying.
We've seen with this podcast as well that there is obviously a massive audience. I think we mentioned it in the Joe Urquhart interview that at certain stages I was flicking between the media platforms when the game was on, the game before last, and I was looking at viewing figures both on the Twitter and then I switched to YouTube, then I switched to the Facebook, and you're looking at between sort of 4,000 and 7,000 people per platform. That's, I know we always, the joke of Leeds take more, but digitally we take in more to under 23 games than most championship clubs would take to a home game. Because you're talking about 15 to 20,000 people tuning in across 4 or 5 different platforms. So that gives you work as well as for your education, in terms of your passion as well. It gives you work, a big platform to go at.
Definitely. I mean, my website's not quite doing those numbers, but, obviously if people are interested, hopefully they'll stumble upon it and like what I'm doing. So that's all you can hope for, really. But yeah, I obviously watched that last episode when you were mentioning those numbers, and I'd never actually looked at it. I knew we had like a growing interest in the academy, but those numbers are crazy. Like you say, it's more than some championship clubs, and that is quite mad. And it's got to be good for the players as well. Getting obviously you do want to protect your younger players to an extent, but if they're going to be coming through at Leeds United, they need to get used to the fact that there's 20,000-30,000 people watching me here. Like they obviously need to get used to that. So those figures on the academy games, they really are crazy.
Yeah, completely agree. You want to get them used to that level of pressure, don't you? You don't want to overdo it. You need to protect them a little bit, but they definitely need to get used to what is a very, very unique pressure cooker that is Leeds United and the pressure our fans put onto players. Yeah, it's a really good point, because Joe said something very, very similar.
Yeah, turning up at Adam Road for your full debut is going to be pretty scary as it is without knowing all those people are watching you.
I think. I think when the pandemic calms down and we're allowed fans back in, I think the depending on what attendances are allowed and so on, I think the under 23 home games, I think there'll be ticket clambering for that. I think they'll see some
every week.
Big attendances. Yeah, I think they will. I think there'll be a progression of attendance increases for them.
I'm not sure what they'll actually do with that, though. I mean, I don't know how many you can really have around that pitch at Thorpe Arch, because the coaches are on one side. If they play on that first pitch, I don't know if you three have ever been to Thorpe Arch, but the first pitch on the right when you go through the gates, I think they play most of the games on there. There's only the side that sort of like backs onto the houses that fans are allowed on, because the other side is the coaches.
They started, didn't they, to start using a few other grounds, because I think they realised the popularity. So I remember that Marcelo Bielsa was at the one where we played was it Tadcaster, wasn't it? I'm sure it was. And there were like 3,000 Leeds fans at an under-23s game. And I think if the club are clever, because like you say, Thorpe Arch is limited to what you can do, I mean, it feels like it makes sense, because then you're supporting the community as well, aren't you? Local clubs I mean, Taddy have been underwater again recently. Poor club, aren't they? So they're big games like that where they can get in big attendances for under 23s. Will really help them. And you could see we've got lots of local Leeds United clubs that are doing well. In non-league, etc. We could do that to get more fans there, because I think there is so much more interest in it.
Definitely, yeah.
Other players that are playing regularly, then who's kind of your standout in the academy at the minute? At any level, you can include Max Dean in there if you want.
Well, Max Dean's doing well, stepping up. But in the 23s, I'm a big fan of Charlie Cresswell. I know you boys have raved about him.
I'm a big fan, mate.
Yeah, I know. Well, rightly so. I mean, anyone that knows the football can see what a good player he is and what potential he's got. I like Jenkins in the number 4 position as well. And then Drame as well. I mean, obviously you've done a podcast on Drame. Yeah. He's been ridiculous. Such a good player. Obviously these boys have got a way to go yet. But I think there was a stage before Struijk really stepped up. In my head I thought Cressy was probably above Struijk. But that's probably unfair to say now. Struijk's done unbelievably well.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because
we've
got to remember that
centre back definitely.
Yeah, because Cresswell is 3 years younger than Struijk, I think. So plenty of time for him to develop. I think he will go on to be a better player than Pascal, but good to see that Pascal stepped up really well. Definitely. So we know, and for anyone watching or listening, give some of your interviews that you've done or some of your articles, Reeks. It's really good writing. But I was going to say, I know that you did an interview with Robbie Gotts, because I know that you know him. Who stands out, because he's obviously one of the players out on loan, who stands out from the players that are out on loan that you think could make it? If there was one in particular you could say, I really think they've got a chance of becoming a first team player at Leeds United.
Well, yeah, I think you've probably got to look at Robbie. Not just saying that because he's a friend, but I think Robbie, and then Alfie as well. I think Alfie's an interesting one because when he made his debut for Leeds, I think he made his debut at Salford. He played in the number 4 position, and when he played for the under-23s, he was in the number 4 position, so the Calvin Phillips role, as it's sort of known as now. And then he's actually doing better at Oldham, playing as a number 8. So the sort of click position, getting forward, he scored, I think, 5 or 6 goals now. So that's quite an interesting one, because is Marcelo going to look at it and think he's still a number 4 in my system? Or is he going to have looked at him at Oldham and said, oh, do you know what? Yeah, maybe I was wrong, and maybe he is number 8. So depends where Alfie fits. But I think Gotts' position.
I can't have Bielsa thinking he knows less than Harry Gill. I can't have that.
No, that is true.
I also think, let's be honest, right? There's a very strong possibility that Bielsa will go, "You're a number 4 and a number 8. This is a new solution to a problem."
Of course. I mean, that's another thing in Alfie's favour. And I was just going to say that about Gotts as well. Gotts played as a right back and a left back for the under-18s, played as a right back and a midfielder for the under-23s. He's playing as sort of a number 10 for Salford now, and he's got 2 goals in 4 games there. So, Gotts has got that on his side as well, the ability to play more than one position. But if I had to choose one, I would say Robbie. I think the fact that Marcelo threw him in against Arsenal shows he's obviously got a lot of faith in him.
And he was so good against Arsenal as well. Legitimately played well, held his own, didn't he, without looking like he was out of his depth at all.
Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
him and Meslier that day just really impressed me. It made you really excited about the future of our academy, even more so than you normally were.
Well?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
Crazy.
And he were out. His distribution was ridiculous.
Stupidly good that game.
Yeah, we're firing 70-yard passes to people's feet. Yeah. It was like nothing I'd ever seen.
I'm a big fan of Melies. I mean, if he's not France's number 1, then something's gone wrong.
Yeah, we don't really talk about him as an under-23. You almost forget how young he is now that he's been in the first team all season for the back end of last. Yeah, it's proper Ben, isn't he? I think he's 20. I don't think he's 21 yet. Sure, he's 20.
Wikipedia says he was born on the 2nd of March 2000. So, yeah, not quite 21 yet.
Unreal.
And he's got as many clean sheets in this season as Joe Hart did in his most prolific season. Am I right? I think that stat came out already. Six clean sheets already this year. So yeah, amazing keeper for his age.
And longer arms than Deontay Wilder, that lad. And it was interesting, right? You mentioned Joe Hart there. Something just random about him. I know it's not to do with this, but I was watching one of them teammates things from FIFA 21, whatever was with what's he called, Reguilon from Tottenham. And he said that like the strongest player by a country mile at Spurs was Joe Hart. Apparently he's like fucking hench and just like benches and squats massive weights. I just thought it was really random because
he's not getting a game. He spends all his
all he's doing is becoming a pro bodybuilder in background somewhere. Yeah, interesting.
That's depressed me about Melly. I'm old enough to be his dad. Jesus Christ, right.
He's got his voice is about 16 octaves deeper than yours. The most surprising thing, when I first watched the video interview with him and he started speaking, I was like, have they dubbed this? Is he speaking French and are they using a translator?
I'd be old enough to be his dad if I'd have been brought up in Bramley or Barnsley. either. Where is it you're from, by the way, Matty?
I'm living in Pudsey at the minute, but I was born in Newfoundland.
Oh, you're literally around the corner from me, mate. I'm in Farsley. Yeah.
Thought you were going to say Bramley then, didn't you?
Mate, if he had it'd have made it so much fucking better.
I went to school in Bramley.
Oh, what, at intake?
No, at primary school I went to Greenhill. It's just named McDonald's.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
We've got time for one more question. Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to spin it on its head a bit because we were speaking before we came on the podcast for anyone that's watching or listening about any crazy or random things like we all find on Twitter that get tweeted towards Matty or any of his accounts. But I'm going to spin it on its head. What is your most far out there take or interesting theory or opinion you've got about the club or one of our players that kind of not a lot of people agree with? It's an unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion, I like it.
Opinion. Well, before the season, I don't know if this is even unpopular because I don't think anyone had Bamford down to do as well as he had. But I was kind of panicking before the season, like, what are we going to do without a goal-scoring centre forward? And he scored that one on the first day and has not looked back. He's been absolutely sensational. I got one wrong. I got one really wrong last season. It wasn't Leeds United related, but I think it was last season. Chelsea got battered on the first day of the season. And I overreacted slightly and said, could Chelsea actually go down? Like, I was genuinely considering it. I was like, it was on the first day against Manchester United.
Lampard's first game in charge.
Yeah, they got beat 4-0 by Manchester United, who were not that great themselves. And I was like, could Chelsea actually go down? And then
that would have been the dream, mate. That would have been the dream.
That backfired like a few months like later on, a Chelsea fan dug it out and he shared it and was like, oh, he had a few thousand followers, this guy, and he was like, oh, look at this clown. And the guy slagging me off on the tweet got like 4,000 likes, and I was just like, I look like an absolute mug saying Chelsea could have gone down.
If Matt is university lecturer is listening or watching, don't mark him down for the bad takes. We all have bad takes. We all get them wrong occasionally.
We've all been bookmarked at some point and had that tweet come back out to go, what did you say?
I know. But yeah, Leeds United related, probably just, I was obviously wrong to write Bamford off.
What a
think we
season
all
he's
were, to be
having.
fair.
I think everyone had their doubts.
Yeah, I think they did.
100%.
Yeah, I think we wrote a lot of people off. We're good at that as Leeds fans. We've all written Jack Harrison off at some point, written Calvin off at some point. Look at where these
Well, we're
players are now.
smashing the league with just Rafinha, basically, as the only other addition to a championship winning team. It's insane what we're doing. It really is insane.
Although that lad is really something special, isn't it?
Yeah, he's quite good,
And
isn't he?
just
He's
as
an
I said
actual
on,
superstar.
as I said on the match review, and just in case any Liverpool fans are watching for absolutely no reason, go fuck yourselves and stay away from Rafinha. Thank you very much.
Yeah, those £15 million quotes, you could put a 1 in front of that and then I'd just about consider it.
We need to stop with the
Other than
Rafinha
that.
propaganda. We need to just start telling everyone, no, he's
Shit.
really not that good. I don't know why Liverpool want him. No, he's really not.
He's a poor
special.
man's Richarlison, just to
Can I be
scare
honest with you?
everyone away.
Okay, this'll be an unpopular thing. Honestly, when he first joined and he was playing, and I thought he looked good, but I did think this lad don't look quite as good as everyone's making out. I thought, is he going to end up just being another Richarlison where he's decent at that level at like maybe top 8, but isn't really going to be all special. And since then, he's gone on to absolutely make me look like a dickhead.
Yeah.
No, I was told, and I think Bamford said this since like the first day of training. I got told like, this boy is a serious player. So I was a bit excited, but he's even gone above and beyond that. I mean, he's so good.
I know.
So
yeah,
good,
Paddy said it on Leeds podcast the other day, the official one, about how good he is and the skills he's got. And then I don't know if you all saw, there was a bit of he's another under 23 to be fair, Paveda. And they put up a Paveda video, like a mockery of like the FIFA 21 stuff to rate people's hair or whatever. And they did the skills one, and he said Rafinha. I mean, he put himself up there as you'd expect from Paveda. He's a confident lad, innit? But he did say Rafinha was something else, and he highlighted not just that backwards spinning Megs crazy thing he did, but also that touch with his left foot to control it on the run was superb as well. So yeah, we can wax lyrical about Rafinha all day long, can't we?
It wasn't until after I'd actually noticed that, you know, the touch that you're talking about where he takes it on at the outside of his left foot.
Yeah.
I didn't even like blink at that, to be honest. I saw him do it and I was like, oh, it's just Rafinha controlling it. I showed the replay and I was like, as if I didn't get excited about that. It's unbelievable. But that's literally the levels he's setting already. You just don't even blink at that kind of touch because it's just what he does. Yeah. He's some player. I tweeted the other day, I think we'll be lucky to have him past this season.
Yeah, 2 seasons.
It all does depend on how
tomorrow
we
will be interesting. Be interesting to see what Arsenal do tomorrow because Tierney's out, isn't he, on the left? So if they have him running, if they have Raf running down the right, it'd be interesting to see how they cope at left back with that.
Yeah, I tweeted
for trouble.
Yeah, I tweeted Phil Hay and Graham Smith to try and find out. I'm interested to know whether Rafinha's got any release clauses of any kind based on certain fees, and I didn't get an answer. I don't know if he does. That would worry me. If he doesn't, I could see us doing what Brighton did with Ben White and just going, hold on. We don't need to sell him. And Rafinha, I guess we're yet to see whether he's the type that would try and force through a move. I guess what we have seen in his career so far is that he's not been shy to move on quickly. You know, when the opportunity rises. I didn't like his flirting with Bruce.
Moves on, but I also thought, I mean, there's so many sides you can look at it, but the fact that he moves on a lot worried me. But then he ditched Champions League football this year. And
I think I'm sceptical about that though. I think that was to get to the Premier League to put himself in the shop window, and I hope we keep him for many seasons.
At least another season, I would like. But I don't like that he flirted with Bruno Fernandes on Instagram. That is not allowed, Rafinha. That is a scum player.
I didn't see that. They will have played together. They'll have played together at
Sporting.
Yeah. I think he'll be here next season. I just think we'll probably lose him season after.
We'll see.
Depending on how we progress and we push on, and obviously a lot of that will have to do with if Bielsa stays as well.
We'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact that he left Rennes though shows he's clearly he's wanting to be part of this project at Leeds. So I mean, hopefully that stays beyond the season. Whether we can tempt him away from the likes of Liverpool and hundreds of thousands a week is a bit different. But
hey, at this rate, we might end up above Liverpool. Who knows?
we might.
That'd be nice. Right, there we go. That's enough for this podcast. You can join us again, all 4 of us, in our weekly Youth Pod, where we're going to be talking about Noel Huggins. We're going to talk about the Reading upcoming game and review the Middlesbrough 4-2.
Yes. 4-2? It was 4-2,
yeah. I was distracted by Warnock shouting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Idiot. Yes, you can join us for that on YouTube. So, it's goodbye from us. It's goodbye from Cookie.
Good night.
Goodbye from Rob.
Goodbye.
Matty, just plug your socials once again for us.
So it's my personal one is at Matty_Ingham17, and the Academy page is at LUFC Academy News.
There you go. You can find us at Peacock's Raw. You can find Juicy Rob at Juicy Rob. You can find Cookie at LUFC Miguel.
That's the one, Spanish.
There you go. And I'm at Rossboat1984. And also follow the Adelites for all his hard work that the man does.
Absolutely.
But yes, we shall be back very, very soon with another podcast. So, see ya. Leeds.